Good morning. It's good to be with you. I am Barbara Martin, chair of the Standing Committee, which is the elected governing group here at First Church Boston. And I'm delighted to welcome both those who are gathered here in our air-conditioned Hale Chapel in the church at the corner of Marlborough and Berkeley in the Back Bay, and also those who are joining us on YouTube. We had a note a couple of weeks ago from someone in Alaska who had enjoyed Helen Reese's service in particular. So we never know how far away people may be who are with us. I'd like to extend a particular welcome to any visitors. If you'd like to know more about First Church Boston or about Unitarian Universalism in general, you can speak to me at the coffee hour on the porch or to any member of the congregation, and I hope you will stay for coffee hour on the porch. As I said, this is our last summer service. Next week we will be returning to the sanctuary, and the next two services are sort of, are special days that mark the return to that rhythm of the church year, as well as other events. Next Sunday's service, September 8th, is Charter Day, marking the anniversary of the chartering of Boston and the Massachusetts Bay Colony, which happened the same group of colonists, the same moment as the chartering of First Church. We celebrate that in conjunction with the organization, the Partnership of Historic Bostons, and Reverend May's sermon next week, A Little Democracy, will be in relation to the theme for their fall lecture series, Tyranny or Liberty, Political Choice Then and Now. And the following Sunday will mark Water Communion, which is a Unitarian Universalist tradition, marking the coming together of our community and the gift of religious community at the close of the summer as we embark on what feels for most people certainly like one beginning of the year. You never shake off the school year pattern, so September is definitely a beginning. And the water communion, we invite everyone to bring a small sample of water from a place or an event that was meaningful to you over the summer. So it might be from a lake in Maine, it might be from a fountain in the public garden, and we all pour that water together to share coming together. Reverend May's sermon will be Watering the Roots. Our service today is led by Matt Meyer, who we are delighted to have with us. He is a lifelong Unitarian Universalist with a long background as a musician and worship leader for UU congregations. Matt lives in Boston, but travels as an itinerant worship leader, bringing the good news of Unitarian Universalism to hundreds of congregations all over the country. As most of us know, Matt also serves as Director of Operations for Sanctuary Boston, a contemporary UU worship community with rock and music and engaging worship that meets on Wednesday evenings online and in person, and it meets here at First Church on the third Wednesday of each month. So, with all those thoughts and looking forward to the service, let our worship now begin.
Lay me low so love can find me. Lay me low so love can hold me. Lay me low so love can bless me. Lay me low, oh lay me low. O God, who is love, in the turbulence and loneliness of my living from day to day and night to night, keep me in touch with my roots so I will remember where I come from and with whom. Keep me in touch with my feelings so I will be more aware of who I really am and what it costs. Keep me in touch with my mind so I will know who I am not and what that means. And keep me in touch with my dreams, so I will grow toward where I want to go and for whom. God, who is love, deliver me from the arrogance of assuming I know enough to judge others. Deliver me from the timidity of presuming I don't know enough to help others. Deliver me from the illusion of claiming that I have changed enough when I have only risked a little. That, so liberated, I will make some of the days to come different. God of love, God of change, keep me in touch with my roots, keep me in touch with my feelings, keep me in touch with my mind and with my dreams. Lay me low, so love can find me. Lay me low, oh, lay me low. We light this chalice as a symbol of the spirit of this church, and I invite you to read with me the chalice lighting printed in your order of service, which begins with the word love. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is the law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. We invite you now to take a few minutes as you are risen to greet your neighbors, say hello to an old friend, and introduce yourself to someone new. Rejoicing come in. If you'd like the words, you'll probably be able to remember them. They're not hard, but they're 361 in the hymnal if you'd like to read along. Although we're going to do a slightly different melody, so I'll sing it once through on my own and we'll try it together. Enter rejoicing, come in. Enter rejoicing, come in. They will be a joyful day. Enter rejoicing, come in. Let's try that together. Here we go. Enter rejoicing, come in. Enter rejoicing, come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter rejoicing. Sounds good. I invite you to rise in body and spirit. For all of our singing today, and there's going to be a lot of it, I invite you to participate in whatever way your spirit needs. If the words elude you and you just want to hum along, that's okay, that's just as good. What you need this morning is to sit in silence, soak in the sound of it, that's okay too, that's just as good. And if what you need this morning is to try out some new harmonies or rock out like you're alone in the car with your radio, this is your morning to do it. Here we go. Enter rejoice. Enter rejoice. Come in. Enter rejoice and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter rejoice and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. invite you to continue in song as we settle into our meditation, into our time of prayer. Lay me low so love can find me. I sang this through a couple times, but we'll try a call and response so you don't have to remember anything. There are a few parts where the response enters before the call is done, though, so gather your courage. Lay me low, so love can find, so love can find me. Lay me low, so love can hold, so love can hold me. Lay me low, so love can bless, so love can bless me. Lay me low, oh, lay me low, lay me low, lay me low, so love can find, so love can find me. Lay me low, so love can hold, so love can hold me. Lay me low, so love can bless, so love can bless me. Lay me low, oh, lay me low, lay me low.
This is the moment in the service when we come together as a community to share joys and concerns that we would like to bring forward. And if there is something you would like to share, just come to the front and take the mic, introduce yourself, and tell us what you would like us to know, and then choose a pebble and drop it into the vase of water. And I'm actually going to begin this week with one that was prompted partly last week when Janet Banks dropped a pebble for all the teachers who were preparing to once again go into the classroom. And I think for various reasons, we've been thinking a lot about classroom teachers lately. And I was prompted to hunt around online and see if I could find my high school English teacher. Not English, my English teacher was important, but my art teacher was who I was hunting for. And I hope I found him at the age of 86, living on Edisto Island in South Carolina. So I wrote him a letter. And he was a very important and innovative and energetic man. And as I wrote to him, that time in the late 60s, I think, was a time of change for him as well as for the students in his class. I always remember at the very junior year or so when Sergeant Pepper came out, he had us sitting in a circle with the lights dim, holding hands, listening to it, and that would not have been what he did my freshman year. So he's a memory of change and inspiration. Mitchell Van Meter. Anyone else?
On that same line, hi, my name is John. It's great to be here this morning. I'm going up to visit a friend that we went to school together in the 70s, and we've stayed together, close friends through marriages, divorce, children, so forth and so on. And it's just so nice to know that you've known somebody for so long, and that love and concern is feed back to you all the time. So here's to going up to Vermont and seeing dear friends that I love. I'm going to pick a nice big color here. Here we go. Thank you, Bob.
Hi, I'm John, and an old friend of mine died just a few days ago, and I've been thinking it's actually probably my oldest friend among friends. Met back in '68 or something, and it's pretty amazing to think of how much we went through together. Anyway, it's too bad, but so this is for Raymond.
I'll drop one more stone for all of the joys and concerns that we carry in our hearts but leave unspoken.
Dear ones, I invite you to join me in a spirit of prayer. Let's take a moment to be present here in this space together, where for now at least there is nowhere else you need to be. Take a moment to breathe deeply and be present in this time, where for now at least there is nothing else that needs to be done but to be here together. God, who is love, be with us as we are with each other this morning, gathered in the spirit of love. Keep us in touch with our hearts. Keep us in touch with our feelings. Celebrating the mentors, the friends, all of those who have guided us on our way. Those who have journeyed with us. Those who helped point the direction forward in our lives. Be with us in the gratitude. Be with us in the grief, which is love. Be with us in the missing of those dear ones, and be with us in the joys of reconnection. God, who is love, be with us as some of us gather this morning in joy. Some of us gathered in gratitude, celebrating small glad gifts of the here and now, small delights in the week behind and the week ahead, joys of community and connection. Help us to ground ourselves in the gratitude, recognizing the blessings that surround us and living our lives in joy. God of connection, God of love, God of joy, be with us in all of it. Be with us as we are with each other. Amen, and blessed be.
Lately I've been thinking about roots and wings. Lately I've been thinking I need these days. Roots in the ground to keep me strong. Wings on my back so I can fly on home. Lately I've been thinking about roots and wings. Lately I've been thinking how I need these things. I need roots in the ground. Keep me strong. Wings on my back so I can fly on home. Lately I've been thinking about roots and wings. Lately I've been thinking how I need these things. I need roots in the ground. Keep me strong. Wings on my back so I can fly on home. Lately I've been thinking about roots and wings. Lately I've been thinking how I need these things. I need roots in the ground. Keep me strong. Wings on my back so I can fly on home. Need roots in the ground. Keep me strong. Wings on my back so I can fly on home. And I invite you to join me in the doxology, which
printed in your order of service. We'll do this call and response, as I've shared with you all here before. I've been reading up on some history of congregational singing in our Unitarian Universalist tradition. And our Puritan ancestors did a lot of call and response singing. So we're going to sing this the Puritan way, although with a drum, which they would have hated. You're going to repeat after me. From all that will below the sky, from all that will below the sky, let songs of faith and hope arise. Let songs of faith and hope arise. Let beauty, truth, and good be sung. At the Passover Seder in the Jewish tradition, the Haggadah, the Passover book, reads a litany of the steps of liberation. And after each step, the people respond with the word Dayenu. It would have been enough. Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt offers this reflection about it, saying, what does this mean that it would have been enough? Surely no one of these things would have been enough for us. Dayenu, though, means to celebrate each step toward freedom as if it were enough, and then to start out on the next step. It means that if we reject each step because it is not the whole of liberation, we will never be able to achieve the whole liberation. It means to sing each verse as if it were the whole song, and then sing the next verse. The next song is 1023, near Teal Hymnal, Building Bridges. A song rooted in a melody of the Quaker tradition, but with new words that came out of a protest against nuclear armament. And I'll sing it a couple times through, and if you feel brave, I invite you to sing Try It in a Round. Or if you get lost, that'll work too. Let's rise in body or spirit. Building bridges between all divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me with all of our voices and all of our visions? Friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Let's try it. Building bridges In 1954, William Golding wrote a novel called Lord of the Flies. It's about a group of boys that get stranded on an island, and without civilization or any adults around, they quickly descend into bloodthirsty, savage chaos. How many of you have ever heard of Lord of the Flies? That's almost all of us. Rarely in history has a novel been so admired for articulating so much truth about human nature. And the specific idea of the book is that civilization is a thin veneer over humankind, keeping us just barely from acting out the selfish brutality of our human nature. This idea is called veneer theory. I believe it's the secular counterpart of original sin. But friends, let me give you some good news, because today's service is about joy, and so I've got some good news for you. The first of which is, Lord of the Flies isn't true. Not only is the book fiction, of course, but it's even more not true than that. Just 11 years after Lord of the Flies was published, an actual group of 6 teenage boys did crash land on an actual island, an abandoned island in Tonga. And they were stuck there for 15 months, a real-life Lord of the Flies scenario. But in this true version of the story, things turned out different. The boys started a fire early on, and they cooperated and worked together to keep that fire burning nonstop for the whole 15 months. They divided up the labor and chores, teaming up in pairs to plant and tend a garden, to create a kitchen and cook and clean together. When one of the boys fell and broke his arm, the others made a makeshift cast for him, and they took on extra work to care for him. They started and ended every day with prayer and singing. How many of you have heard of the real-life boys stranded on an actual desert island who created a society of cooperation and community care? 2 of us. Friends, if you have heard of Lord of the Flies, but you have not heard of the actual story of the Tonga boys, it's because the cynics are winning. I don't believe in original sin, and I don't believe in veneer theory. I do believe, though, that some people think they have something to gain by repeating these stories. And the cynics I'm talking about are the ones most invested in the status quo of an unjust society, and for whom success means profiting from our fear and our despair. In the news media, there's a saying that if it bleeds, it leads. And researchers found how true this was in the 1990s and early 2000s. During this decade or so, plane travel became safer and safer. Every year there were fewer crashes than the year before. But as plane crashes became more rare, they became more newsworthy. And so the media reported on them more and more. And the effect of this was that we could measure it and see that the United States population became more afraid of flying during this time because it was getting safer. Friends, when we get more and more anxious about something that is getting safer and safer, we know the cynics are winning. And social media companies in recent years, we know that they've taken that old business model from the 90s of the news, and they have put it on steroids, profiting from our fear and despair way beyond what the news stations of the 90s could have ever dreamed. A few months ago, I heard a relative say that they didn't trust people who were too happy because they clearly weren't paying attention to the state of things. Happiness wasn't rational, they said, and so it showed poor judgment. And that reminded me of a bumper sticker that for years I lived by, still that I even agree with, that says, "Friends, if you aren't angry, you aren't paying attention." It's a sentiment I've long lived by because there is truth in that. There is injustice galore around us these days, and many reasons to be worried about our collective future. But I want to also share some evidence for hope that makes optimism also rational. Because to not acknowledge the way things are getting worse is to turn away from those who are suffering. But to not acknowledge the way things are also getting better is to erase the work of the people who have made a real difference. And the powerful people who want things to stay the way they are would love nothing more than for us to believe that change and progress isn't possible. So if you want more people to work for change, what better tool can we offer than a story that proves that it is possible? Being honest about good news not only makes for less anxious air travel, it makes for stronger justice movements. And a religious community like ours, if it isn't fundamentalist, should challenge us to hold the complexity of this world. It's true that things are getting worse, and it's also true that things are getting better. Both can be true, both are true. And truth-seeking as spiritual practice means holding the complexity of both stories at the same time. So these are my 3 reasons to tell the story of good news and celebrate real wins. Number 1, to honor rather than erase the work of people that made things better. Number 2, to offer fuel for a movement working for change. And number 3, because celebrating progress in addition to grieving injustice is the honest thing to do. So here's my good news list for you. Are you ready? In the big picture, child mortality is one of the best ways to measure the whole of a society, because healthy babies are also a measure of whether a community has clean water and enough food and vaccinations and electricity and increased education for mothers. It is a measure of the whole society in many ways. All of these things have gone up in recent decades, and so child mortality has plummeted. Child mortality around the world is less than half of what it was just 30 years ago. By this definition also, only 6% of humanity currently live in places that would meet the definition of what at the time we called developing countries. And on a related note, despite the anti-vax movement here in the United States, vaccinations for children around the world have absolutely skyrocketed in this time. And the year my dad was born, life expectancy in the world averaged 45 years old. Now it is 72. And as someone who just turned 42, I am particularly grateful for this change. Friends, in the spirit of celebrating good news, can I get a right on? In the first 30 years of my life, the prison population in the United States went up and up, but we are now headed in the other direction. If putting people in prison made us safer, the US would be the safest place on earth, but it doesn't, and we are not. But in the last 10 years, violent crime rates are dropping, and so is the population of imprisoned people. Here in Massachusetts, the prison population is just half of what it was 10 years ago. Thank goodness. And nationally, there's 300,000 fewer people incarcerated than 10 years ago. In recent years, 9 different states have moved to end cash bail, which is a moral necessity for creating a more just justice system. And thank goodness for the largely young Black activists and communities of color that have changed the trajectory of mass incarceration in this country. There is more work to do, but they have done incredible work, and we should celebrate them. Daenu, can I get it right on? Right on. You probably thought I was going to avoid the climate if I'm listing good news, but I've got good news there for you as well. Climate scientists believe that average carbon emissions per person have peaked and are now falling. 10 years ago, we were headed toward a global warming of 4 to 5 degrees. But policy changes in just these last 10 years mean that we're now on track for 2.5 degrees. Friends, 2.5 degrees of global warming is not great, and we should do everything we can to lower that number. But it is so incredibly, unimaginably better than 5 degrees. And that change happened quickly enough that telling the story of that progress can only add fuel, renewable fuel, I hope, to our movement for more progress. Thank God for the tens of thousands of people all around the world who have made it their business to make this difference. Daenu, can I get it right on? And lastly, I want to celebrate a really big win with a really boring name. The Inflation Reduction Act was passed just 2 years ago here in the United States. It is the largest piece of climate legislation any country on the planet has ever enacted. If you haven't heard of it, it's because of the same people that have helped you not hear of the boys of Tonga. In all my years as a climate activist, protesting over and over, organizing on and on, getting arrested time and again, I never thought we would win something like this. And on the days that I dared to dream this big, I thought surely there would be dancing in the streets while we shouted the news of the Inflation Reduction Act from the rooftops. It's not quite the Green New Deal that many of us hoped and worked for, but it is bigger than the original New Deal of the 30s, even adjusted for inflation. And it will transform our systems of energy and transportation, cutting the emissions of the United States in half by 2030, while taxing the rich to do it. And weirdly, I'll add, it has already lowered drug costs and will lower drug costs over those years by $287 billion, making healthcare more affordable for seniors by a lot. Can I get a right on? Dainu. If things go well, friends, say so, and then use that wellness to make things go better. To the extent that we've got any privilege in this world, we would do well to remember the words of Toni Morrison that whatever your job is, your real job is that if you are free, you need to free somebody else. And if you have some power, then your job is to empower somebody else. These are words to live by as we celebrate good news for us or for our neighbors. 10 years ago, more or less, I was a yes, but activist. So many times when my dad would share some of the good justice work that his congregation was doing, my response would be a feeling of distance from him. And I would respond by saying, yes, but that's not the kind of work that's most needed right now. Or when a friend would share some gratitude for some small progress in their community, I would shake my head in disappointment at them, at how irrational their gratitude was. And I would tell them, yes, but that's not enough. Yes, but-ism doesn't build winning coalitions. It doesn't celebrate the communities that have won real change for real people, and it falsely oversimplifies the truth of things. Yes, but-ism is the work of cynics who want us to scroll on our phones instead of using them to call our representatives or our neighbors and comrades. Our Calvinist ancestors, although they were good at song leading, they believed that, quote, gloom and melancholy are the clearest signs of a wise and religious person. Friends, I'm no Calvinist. And so I want to invite my younger self, and I want to invite my today self into the spiritual practice of yes and. I believe that if you're not angry, you're not paying attention. Yes. And I believe that if you're not cultivating joy, you are withholding necessary fuel from the engine of our movements. And so here's my 3 asks of you, what I want you to do with good news when you find it. Number 1, throw more parties. Parties are a solution to the epidemic of loneliness and isolation that is plaguing our people. They build communities, which are the building blocks of movements, and parties can come in all shapes and styles and sizes, so throw the party that's right for you and your people. I, just last weekend, hosted a party for the Inflation Reduction Act celebrating its 2-year anniversary. Number 2, say your gratitudes before bed at night, and say them out loud to others. The scientists tell us clearly that saying gratitudes every day improves your mental health, it improves your sleep, and it lowers your chance of heart attacks. Cultivating gratitude is good for you, and it is good for the work of justice, and it is honest because there is a long list of things to be grateful for. And number 3, tell the social media companies who built their fortunes on the backs of our mental health to cut this shit out. Algorithms are choices made by people, and our online gathering places are increasingly shaped by algorithms that feed division and despair on purpose, because despair keeps you doom scrolling, which is good for their business model. I'm not here to tell you, friends, that it isn't worse than you think out there. It is worse than you think, yes. And it is also better than you think. May we hold the complexity of yes and, that the world is both worse and better than we can possibly even know. May we honor the justice makers and daily task doers who have made a real difference in real people's lives. May we celebrate the change that proves change is possible. May we celebrate each step toward freedom as if it were enough, and then start out on the next step. And dear ones, may we sing each verse as if it were the whole song, and then sing the next verse. I invite you to join me in singing.
This song has 3 parts. I'll sing each one at a time, and then we'll try them all together. We are the ones, we've been waiting. We are the ones, we've been waiting. Part 2. We are the ones, we've been waiting. We are the ones, we've been waiting. Part 3. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Let's do that one again. We are the ones we've been waiting for. I invite you to rise in body or spirit. We'll start with part 1, then 2, then 3. You can pick whichever part you like and hold on tight, don't let go. You can try moving back and forth between them, or if you're more inspired by parts 4, 5, or 8, go ahead and make up your own. This is yours to do. Here we go. We are the ones, we've been waiting. We are the ones, we've been waiting. Keep going. We are the ones, we've been waiting. We are the ones, we've been waiting. Keep going. We are the ones, we've been waiting. We are the ones, we've been waiting. We are the ones we've been waiting for. 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 A little louder. We are the ones, we are the ones we've been waiting. We are the ones, we are the ones we've been waiting. We are the ones we've been waiting for. 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 We are the ones waiting for. 4 more times. We are the ones waiting. We are the ones waiting. 2 more. We are the ones, we are the ones we are the ones, we are the ones we've been waiting. Amen.
I invite you to join in reading the extinguishing of the chalice printed in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts. Dear ones, may we honor the justice makers and daily task doers who have made a real difference. May we celebrate the change that proves change is possible. May we sing every verse as if it is the whole song, and then go on and sing the next verse. Dear ones, go in peace, go in love, and go and be blessed as you are each a blessing to others. Amen.